Hail was the wounded knight that bore the rowan shield. Loud and cruel were the ravens' cries that feasted on the field, singing back water cold and clear will never clean your wound. There's none but the witch of the Westmoreland can make thee heal and soon. So turn your stallion's head till his red mane flies in the wind, and the rider of the moon goes by and the bright star falls behind. And clear was the paling moon when his shadow passed him by. Below the hill were the brightest stars when he heard the owlet cry, singing, why do you ride this way, and wherefore came you here? I seek the witch of the Westmoreland who dwells by the winding mere. And it's weary by the Owl's water and the misty break fern way, till through the cleft of the Kirkston past the winding water lay. Said, lie down, me brindle hound, and rest ye, me good grey hawk, and thee, my steed, may grace thy fill, for I must dismount and walk. But come when you hear my horn, and answer swift the call, for I fear the sun will rise this morn, you will serve me best of all. And it's down to the water's brim he's borne the rowan shield, and the golden rod he has cast in to see what the lake might yield. And wet rose she from the lake, and fast and fleet went she, one half the form of a maiden fair with a jet black mare's body. And loud, long and shrill he blew, till his steed was by his side. And swiftly he did ride, saying, horse, well be brindle down, fetch me the jet black mare, stoop and strike me good grey hawk, and bring me the maiden fair. Thy silvery sword, lay down thy rowan shield, for I see by the briny blood that flows you've been wounded in the field. And she stood in a gown of the velvet blue, bound round with a silver chain, and she's kissed his pale lips once and twice, and 3 times round again. And she's bound his wound with the golden rod, full fast in her arms he lay. And he has risen hale and soon with the sun high in the day. She said, ride with your brindled hounds at heel, and your good grey hawk in hand. There's none can harm the knight who's laid with the witch of the Westmoreland.
Stan Rogers, Witch of the Westmoreland from the 1979 album Between the Breaks Live, and of course written by Archie Fisher. You are listening to The Garden Sessions, broadcasting across the globe. This is thegardensessions.co.uk. Contact us at podcast@gardensessions.co.uk. And we're also available at 98.8 in the Edinburgh area, Leith FM, where Leith lives, and Jack Foster. And joining me are the nuts and bolts of the Scottish folk scene. I'm talking, of course, of Chris Silver and Frank Burkitt.
I'm glad you said bolts.
Well, which one's nuts, which one's bolts?
I don't care.
I'm glad you said across the globe as well.
So am I.
So if anyone was in any doubt as to whether globalisation was kicking in or not.
We've always been available since episode 1 across the globe. Though. What's coming up on this week's show, Frank?
Well, the usual Spooky News download chart. We've got a cracking feature from the Paul McKenna Band, who launched their album in Glasgow a few days ago, and it was a cracking night, wasn't it, Silver? It was quite pounding.
We were all there.
Lovely setting as well.
Yes, beautiful building, St Andrews in the Square. Lovely roof.
It's delightful. Lovely roof indeed, Frank.
It is a very beautiful roof.
It is a good. I can confirm it is a good roof. Nice fairy lights on the pillars and stuff.
One of the finest roofs you'd find west of the M8, I'm sure.
Is it?
Glasgow has a few good roofs though.
Yes, we have another tune next. Silver, what's coming up next? This is a nice one, is it not?
Yes.
You didn't have to look on the paper to see.
Excited.
The rustling of paper in the back. That wasn't a fox, it was just Silver rustling his notes.
We have Bella Hardy coming up now with 3 black feathers. Lovely.
The moon is ever watching. She watches us all field and fen. For this is only one man's story within a tale of many men. Sally at her bedroom window stands where she stood for 3 years past. I fear my true love is lost in battle. I'm wondering how long love can last. The church bell tolls to tell of midnight, with 3 bowls knocks at Sally's door, and quickly she has risen upright, saying, "Who's this calls at such late an hour?" And there is stood her own true lover, raven sharp eyes shining through, saying, "Smile on me, love, and I'll not deny thee. I have returned this night to you. What did I promise when I departed? I said that when the bullets flew, that I would rise just like the blackbird, safe back to share my life with you." He's led her up to her bedchamber, and bending knelt down where she lay. "Oh, rest here in my arms forever, and lie here by my side till day." So she sleeps and dreams she sees him by her window, lit by the moon, saying, "I must be gone ere the rise of the sun, love. I fear you've loved and you've lost too soon." Sally startled has awoken, raven sharp eyes shining through, but all that's left are 3 black feathers and the bright morn, both crisp and new. story within a tale of many men.
From her 2007 debut solo album, Night Visiting, that is Bella Hardy and Three Black Feathers, and that song was nominated for Best Original Song at last year's BBC Folk Awards. And deservedly so, I would say. Frank?
It's news, it's folk.
What is it, Frank?
It's the folky news. And the folky news brought to you this week, as ever, in association with the Royal Oaks award-winning Wee Folk Club.
Well, every Sunday night at the Oak, we've got the Wee Folk Club at 8:30. An intimate venue, 30 seats, acoustic. It's a great night out. We've got fantastic musicians and singers. Every Sunday night, do come along.
And this Sunday, the 22nd of March at the Wee Folk Club, it's Wendy Grossman, a legendary American folk performer, on guitar, concertina and auto harp. Wendy plays a mix of American and British traditional and contemporary music songs. The auto harp, anyone? I think I'll go along to the Wee Folk Club this Sunday and I'll find out what an auto harp is.
An auto harp is a sort of very small harp that's quite sort of high pitched.
You'll recognise one when you see them.
Super.
I think you put them on your shoulder, do you know? They're very
Your
small.
shoulder?
Well, no, well,
Like a monkey.
Yeah.
well, not quite like a monkey.
It's
but
got buttons in it, isn't it?
it's not. It doesn't stand on the floor. You hold it.
Okay. Top story. The Paul McKenna Band released their debut album Between Two Worlds this week under Green Tracks at the Starfolk Club in Glasgow last week. And this album has been a long time coming since the band formed in 2006, but it's sure not to disappoint, and it doesn't disappoint. It's a cracking album, and they played to a packed house.
Can I just emphasise it's a very good album?
Very good album.
I hope that someone mentioned that this is a good album during this piece.
No, well, we'll fit that in somewhere. They played to a packed house in St Andrews in the Square, where Silver, Jack and I caught up with them after a busy night of stylish folk, and I asked them how things have changed since being signed to Green Tracks.
We've actually since we got the record deal, it's been a bit easier to get gigs, even though I don't actually get the gigs in the band. That's not my job, but it's been a lot easier. But I think we're working harder since we got the record deal, because we feel like we get something to live up to now. Before it was all good fun, but now we feel we've got to prove ourselves worthy of what we've been given. So
when we get signed from Green Tracks, we hadn't actually been in this 5-piece playing together for that long. For maybe about a year. There was myself and David and Rory had for longer, but so it was still kind of bubbling away like nicely, going along and getting gigs, but I think it gave us really a big impact. It had a big impact on us.
Paul McKenna there, and before David McNee, and you can hear that interview in full later in the show. The
Featured artist slot.
They are indeed the featured artist slot this week.
I'm excited.
The Paul McKenna Band will next be appearing on the 31st of March at Montrose Folk Club. Find out more at paulmckenna.band.com. The second story this week. This Thursday, the 19th of March, at 7 o'clock in the evening, for the price of £12, £10 concession, I believe. The three leading
stars. That's the prices, by the way.
Just in case you're watching what you spend in the current climate, as people have been saying.
Oh, nicely tied in, Frank.
That's a terrible phrase, the current climate. What does that even mean? The three leading stars of prog folk that are Lao will be in action, launching their new album Arclight on Reveal Records. The winners of the BBC Radio 2 Folk Group of the Year Award 2009 return to the Bongo Club to celebrate the launch of their new album, where they'll be performing brand new material with special guests, and there's quite a lot of special guests on that album, I would like to point out.
There is indeed. It's a cracking album. Can I just point out that we did have an interview with Chris Silver, but apologies, there was obviously a problem with his broadband connection or something.
The listeners don't want to hear excuses, Jack. They just want results.
Not so much an excuse as an apology.
Well, indeed. And I apologise too, listeners. I'm deeply saddened. So that's the Folky News this week. Keep up to date with all the latest Folky News at gardensessions.co.uk/news. That's the Folky News. And how many roads must a man walk down before he can slap on a jingle? The official Garden Sessions download chart. The official Garden Sessions download chart. That sound can mean one thing.
And how many ideas did you have before you came up with that one?
None at all. That was the first one.
That was the first road that you walked down. This is the official Garden Sessions download chart based on free downloads from gardensessions.co.uk. The fax is hot off of the press, or the fax machine, from Dave, and it's 2 non-movers, so that could mean that Hayley Beavis may still be at number 1, but it might not mean that. Who knows? At 10, it's a re-entry for Nick Allmark with Carry You to Freedom. At 9, Behold the Field of Megaliths with Weir. And Frank Burkitt, the man sitting to my left, down 3, Working Hands. At 7, it's a non-mover for the Arrows with Steel Melter's Sun.
Sound the steel melted sun. I work here on my own. I keep the coke fires burning bright, hoping I will eat tonight. Me and my father, we work as slaves. I feel like death is counting our days, and I know won't be free to rest until we've breathed our last breath.
And yes, we have 3 sirens coming up now. At 6, we've got a re-entry from Adam McDonald with You Held Out Your Hand. At 5, we've got a re-entry from Carolyn and Scott, Far Ahead, Going Home. Female singer-songwriters, they're so pervasive. And at number 4, we've got a re-entry from Sinead Connolly with Eileen Og.
Eileen Og, my heart has grown grey ever since the day you went far away. Eileen Og, there's good for soul, they say, but there's none of them like the pride of Petrol.
And apparently Sinead Connolly was in Edinburgh recently. Didn't look up the Garden Sessions. Oh no.
That
Didn't
is
come a knocking at the buffet.
unacceptable behaviour, Sinead. I'm not happy, you Irish.
Give us the top 3, Frank.
Stu.
Number 3.
Oh, Silver.
Nice. Number 3, re-entry, The Arrows, Black is the Colour.
Ooh.
Number 2, a re-entry, Roscoe Galloway, An Island in My Mind.
There's only one non-mover left.
There's
isn't
only
there?
one non-mover
that
left.
means one thing.
And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out
But
that
it'll
the
help.
number 1 this week is still Hayley Beavis and all.
Roll out the day like a bridge across the bay for me to leave on. The moment that moved me did not move you. And we don't need to say goodbye before you wake, I'll be gone. It's not what I like, it's more what I'm used to. And the low hum inside is but the age-old desire to be loved. I long for you to be as true as I am a liar. Disenchanted by the mirror that I held up from at your feet. I'm not like you, but I certainly did try. Tie me down so I can cut loose and be my own savior. Time and again, with my back against the wall. See how free all the morning birds are leaving here on the wind. pride, my disillusionment and all. Roll out the way home and focus on the road for to see. The trees, all gold and green, bow down as I would have done for thee. And the searching that fills my heart just seems to disappear. Within this hillside I find a love so complete and free. Tie me down so I can cut loose and be my own savior. Time and again with my back against the wall. See how free all the morning birds are leaving here on the wind. See how free I'm leaving again with my pride, my disillusionment and all.
Hayley Beavis there, and all. What a tune.
Still number one. I'm glad. I like that song a lot.
Frank, why don't you just keep on talking and tell us more about the show?
All right, I will, Silver. Well, we've got the letters bag coming up, and we have our featured artist this week, Paul McKenna Band's album launch in Glasgow. It was a very, very good evening, and a beautiful
smell
venue.
the Glasgow in the air.
you could.
An interview conducted beneath the shadow of a Fairfield crane.
Indeed. That's,
no, it wasn't. It was a very good
refurbished
roof. Very, very good roof.
I was
Indeed,
born in
so
the
I'm
shadow
looking forward
of a refurbished church.
to that very much indeed. Yes.
Mm-hmm. What are we listening to, Frank?
What we're listening to right now, Jack, is the Garden Sessions.
Yes.
You can find
Simple.
it on thegardensessions.co.uk online, obviously, which is, if you're anywhere in the world, you could do that. Anywhere in the world.
That's got broadband.
That's got broadband and doesn't have any censors on the internet. But let's not go into that kind of
not
political
offend
chat.
China here. Come on. We don't want to lose everyone there.
Do you think China, Chinese government would censor the Garden Sessions? Surely not. The folky cause.
Depends what we say, I suppose.
The folky cause.
Free Tibet. There we go. Oh, that's
you've
us.
done it now. Silver.
We're told.
You've done it now.
Still get no publicity.
You've done it now. But yes, listen to Garden Sessions. And you can find us on Leith FM 98.8 in the Edinburgh area, where Leith lives, I believe.
Indeed. Incidentally, it's no laughing matter, the Free Tibet thing.
No, of course not.
I mean, obviously.
But the ridiculousness of state censorship in China which is what we were
yes, of course. That's what we were riffing on.
But this isn't a political show. We're not Radio 4. You know, we don't want to get any deep political chat here.
No, heaven forbid. Anyway, coming up next, still to come, Letters Bag and the featured artist of the Paul McKenna Band, as I said before. But for now, here is a track from Cara Dillon's brand new album, Hill of Thieves, available on Charcoal Records. And this is the...
Hill of Thieves?
Hill of Thieves.
A whole Hill of Thieves? You wouldn't want to take your wallet with you.
I don't know if the hill is made of
hill.
thieves, Frank.
Listen and find out.
Yes, this is the title track, which obviously is entitled Hill of Thieves.
Been a stranger here to the hills above Glenshane, and your rocks and your rain, where the silent souls on the prairie walls in the wind they sing, come away to the murmuring stream with the time below. Great can clan, come away, they say, to the band of Glen. Where the hind of the plain has walked this land, and the loneliest man with a sword in his hand, and his blood runs still in every stream and glen, and his home can be seen from the hill of the thief. For too long now, I've been a stranger here to the hills above Glenshane, and your rocks and your rain and the silent soul haunts the prairie walls, and the wind they say, come away, come away, come away, come away, yeah. Come away, come away, come
Frank's doing some of his trademark miming in the studio, which the listeners don't know anything about other than us
No.
just talking about it. But
It's a routine I have for
it's
a
not
tune.
even that funny. I mean,
No,
it's
it's
just
not.
it's
It's just-
tiring, Frank.
It's almost like just a routine, a habit I've got myself into when I hear a good tune.
You're lost to the miming.
I think it's
A hill of
attention
thieves.
seeking.
World.
Is
Hill
what
of
we would
Thieves.
call it.
Cara Dillon. Hill of
Hill of
Thieves.
Thieves, Cara Dillon. Yes, indeed. This is the Garden Sessions. I almost forgot there. I thought it was just from
Having a wee chat.
from our new album available on Charcoal Records of the same title, Hill of Thieves. Hill of Thieves, Cara Dillon.
Hill of Thieves. So what's coming
I think
up,
this would
Jacko?
probably be appropriate.
Garden Sessions Letters
Why?
Sorry?
Why?
Because he was going into a wicker man and getting burned, and
But I don't see how that's appropriate.
What?
It's a letters bag. But
Oh, God, because... Oh, do you want me to play it again? I
No,
think it
no,
would be
no, no,
appropriate
no.
again. I've got the first letter here. This is from Beth and Skye. Ha ha!
she's not from Skye, though. We know Beth very well, and she's not from Skye, is she?
No, she's from Washington.
Washington,
in America.
DC.
The United States of America, sorry. Ha ha, she says. That's a laugh. That was pretty mince, Frank. Which is, she's referring there, of course, to Frank's Gallic pronunciation on last week's show.
Absolutely. Yes, that's a given. That's a given.
I'll find it before the end of the letters bag. But it's always great to hear Gallic on the Garden Sessions. She says, I haven't listened for a while and I'm laughing out loud in the computer lab here at Somore. See, I can do Gaelic pronunciation because that's written Sabhalmore, and I know it's somewhere.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well.
What a great show you guys have going. That's Beth in Sky.
If only you were as confident in your Gaelic pronunciation last week, Jack, when I had to read out that title.
You were reading it.
Just add to that, this is very relevant. Between the 30th of March and the 10th of April, the Gaelic College in Skye is running short courses in traditional music and Gaelic language. So they're 5-day short courses, all levels, and traditional music taught by renowned musicians and surrounded by the beautiful scenery.
Font of knowledge.
No, it is a fantastic place to go.
You should get yourself up there, Frank.
No, it is. Well, Chris Stone,
listeners.
Here's his. This is what you had to pronounce last week. I've got it written here phonetically. Biech in Geoch Sheon Le Moruan. Yeah, it's not easy. Do you want to have another go, Frank?
Well, Jack really has had 2 weeks to sit and read that. He reads it every night before he goes to bed and makes sure he's been building up to that moment, hasn't it, Jack?
I think that was about the same as your pronunciation.
Yeah, probably was.
Another letter.
Give us a letter, Frank. Come on.
Well, actually, this is quite an amusing letter. I don't know if you boys have read it yet because I was sifting through the emails just before we came on air.
Was that what you were doing?
And it's actually really quite funny, and I'm glad I caught it. Mark,
you sound amused.
Mark from Edinburgh says the Odyssey features, he's referring to Tom's Folk Odyssey, the Odyssey features have been lacking in recent weeks. Has Tom,
to say the least.
Has Tom A, died, B, been unable to find folk music in all of New Zealand, or C, left the folk scene behind for a new love of acid jazz? I don't know what the response is.
We sincerely
to
hope
Mark
none of those are the case.
Indeed.
Well, we can definitely. I can assure you, Mark.
No, mainly the last one.
I can assure you, Mark, that he hasn't died, and the listeners, rest easy. He's not died.
I'm sure he sooner would than get into acid jazz.
I don't know what the basically it's Tom you're going to have to speak to. Email Tom at gardensessions.co.uk.
Indeed.
Yeah? I've got another letter here. It's from Donald in Donegal.
Hello, Donald.
He says, I was over at Edinburgh last weekend. Guess why? Why did you?
Rugby.
Of course, yes.
Oh, no, sorry. I did rugby.
Game in which sort of massive men pound the... Anyway, I was expecting central Edinburgh to be full of sessions, and I was told by a friend that Whistle Binkies, it was a folk pub and ran great sessions, but went in and was regaled by some indie, and then he uses an expletive. Basically, Whistle Binkies used to be, and as did lots of pubs in Edinburgh. The Tron apparently was a very good session pub back in the day, but you're really pretty much just
a dying breed.
Perhaps an idea for a future feature on the Garden Sessions is there.
Good.
Maybe an investigation into what's happened to the sessions.
But saying that obviously the Royal Oak itself, and there are a lot of pubs in the Edinburgh area that do support folk music of some kind.
Indeed. Podcast at gardensessions.co.uk is where to send your letters to, and you can be in the letters bag too. It's time for our featured artist slot this week, though. The Paul McKenna Band, whom we met up with in Glasgow at St Andrews in the Square following their album launch for Between Two Worlds.
The last time I saw this band live, they were taking the Celtic Connections Festival home at the Festival Club, and now they are launching their first album. I am joined now by none other than the Paul McKenna Band. All of them are here. I'm going to talk to Paul first. Paul.
No names there, Silver?
There's quite a few of them.
Seems like an omission.
So I think we can gradually sort of bring them all in as the interview progresses. Paul, you are the lead singer of the band, and tell us how it feels to be at the top of your game with your first album.
It's fabulous. Wouldn't say top of the game though. Maybe a wee bit to go yet.
Interesting wee question here. Over the past few years, right, most of the sort of singers that have sort of come to the fore in the folk scene, they tend to be like female. Like generally speaking, the instrumental stuff is for the guys. Generally speaking, the singers are female. How does it feel to be one of the sort of first sort of male singers to actually sort of make it to the front of the folk scene?
It's funny you should say that, because Paul does have a huge feminine side. During rehearsals and that, it's quite different to what it is on stage.
That's the voice of David McNeither.
I suppose you're right, most of it is. Today anyway, well, not taking into account years ago, but mostly coming from the last 5-10 years maybe. It's been mostly females, but but I mean it's good to be maybe recognised as one of the few male singers coming out at the minute.
For listeners' benefit, the noises you hear in the background is the clearing up here at St Andrews in the Square in Glasgow. We've just finished the album launch for Between Two Worlds. A fantastic gig, I must say. Rory McMillan, your fiddler, congratulations on BBC Young Traditional Musician of the Year award. I want to ask you about something which will probably create a collective sigh amongst the rest of the band, but Henry the Lobster. I've heard the story a few times. I imagine the band have probably heard it 1 or 2 times. Because the set of tunes we're going to hear is called the Lobster set. Maybe you can tell our listeners concisely the story of Henry the Lobster.
Do that for him.
I want to have a shot, actually, boys. Well, basically, my parents used to live in Canada, and there was a certain day that they were missing home, or weekend, so they went away to the East Coast, and they had a lovely weekend and bought a lobster to take home with them, thinking it would be dead, but it wasn't. It was alive. So my mum's sitting in the back of the car, and she decides to call it Henry. So every night at the hotels, Henry gets the bath with salt brought up from the kitchens, and that was fine. Same thing happened when they got home. He got the guest bedroom, and everything.
The whole bedroom.
He got the guest bathroom, I should say.
Right.
It was en suite, so it's one of those things.
Bedroom, a lobster, I wouldn't say.
But after about a week of that, Mum came home one day and saw that my dad had made a bit of an effort taking the afternoon off work and put out the smelly candles and the rose petals and all that, and cooked her a lovely dinner, the centrepiece of which was Henry. So, God rest him. But
Note the shock from around the room as the punchline is told. It is a yes.
terrible.
How did it turn out in the end, though?
Well, they've just started talking now. Actually, my mum and dad. I think they've just about reconciled it. So that's fine. So I thought I'd write him a happy tune anyway, because it was quite a life for a lobster, I think.
And the other tunes in the set are called.
The first one was written by myself and Sean, and I'll let Sean tell you all about that.
This was a tune that we wrote after a trip to Fregenal in Spain, and it was called Lasses of Fregenal because there was some lasses in Fregenal, and then you just had to go to the swimming pool to cool down quite a lot of the time, and certainly not for the
pale bodies.
big face, dude, glowing. So it was nice. It was very inspirational. And so we came with this beautiful music, you know.
So this is the Lobster set from Paul McKenna Band's album Between Two Worlds. The Lobster Set, the Paul McKenna Band there from their debut album Between Two Worlds. We're having a featured artist slot with the Paul McKenna Band following the release of this album, and I have to say it's quite a formal occasion, as we've been discussing, compared to previous interviews on the Garden Sessions. But enough from me, I'm going to hand over to Frank.
Obviously, you've been signed by Green Tracks quite recently, and what differences has that made?
Well, we've actually since we got the record deal, it's been a bit easier to get gigs, even though I don't actually get the gigs in the band. That's not my job, but it's been a lot easier. But I think we're working harder since we got the record deal, because we feel like we get something to live up to now. Before it was all good fun, but now we feel we've got to prove ourselves worthy of what we've been given. So,
as a band. When we got signed from Green Tracks, we hadn't actually been in this 5-piece playing together for that long. For maybe about a year. There's maybe, myself and David and Rory had for longer, but so it was still kind of bubbling away like nicely, going along and getting gigs. But I think it gave us really a big impact. It had a big impact on us.
Perhaps another boost in confidence that may have happened in the process of recording the album was having none other than the godfather of the Scottish folk music scene himself, Dick Gaughan, involved. Tell us about that.
I'm a huge fan, Dick Gaughan. Big hero. I met him in here, actually, in this very room a couple of years ago. Got speaking to him outside, and he was very helpful, very a lot of good supportive, a lot of good words of advice and wisdom, as you would imagine, coming from Dick Gaughan. And then met him again in Dundonald Festival, and it was then that he offered to come and help. First of all, just to come in and have a listen and just give us some ideas, just for one day. Then it went on to, bigger things. We came in and actually helped produce it.
The second tune we're going to hear of this featured artist slot is Carnock Bay, and Rory, I believe you took pleasure in and how many takes was it that you did in the studio? How many tracks did you lay down?
There's something in the region of 21 fiddle and viola tracks.
Are they all on the final mix?
They are actually all in the final mix. Near enough. And I think Sean
I had 1, 2, 3, 1 note and that so
there is actually a video documentary of that the recording of that particular song at that particular time when it was struggling with lots of notes. So look out for it on YouTube.
Aye. It's rated 18.
What would you type into YouTube then for that?
Oh, it's not up yet. We'll let you know in due
We'll
course.
tag it appropriately.
We'll make sure there's a link on the Garden Sessions for that.
Ewan, how many tracks did you lay down on Carnock Bay?
Hello. One, because I took one take for every single track I looked at.
Because he's a pro, I think is the word.
But I'd like to quote, what was it the Garden Sessions called me? I've never been called this before, and it meant a lot. From Knockengorch.
A folk warrior.
That was the one, folk warrior.
No, the other bit.
The other bit.
A big blonde hunk.
It was something wonderful, I'm sure. That we'll find out. We'll listen back and we'll find out. And after the song, you'll be able to hear.
We're going to now hear Carnock Bay, which is a track off Between Two Worlds.
Thank you very much to everyone in the Paul McKenna Band. Great gig tonight, great album. Cheers.
When winter was brawling o'er high hills, mountains, dark where the clouds o'er the deep rolling sea, I spied a wee lass as the daylight was dawning. She was asking the road to sweet Carlock Bay. She was asking the road to sweet Carlock Bay. And I said, my wee lassie, I can't will tell you the number of miles or how far it may be, but if you consent, I'll convoy you a wee bit. I'll show you the road to sweet Carlock Bay, and I'll show you the road to sweet Carlock Bay. Turn to the right and pass down by the churchyard, cross over the river and down by the sea. We'll call at Pat Hamill's and have a wee drop there, just to help us along to sweet Carlock Bay, just to help us along to sweet Carlock Bay. And here's a healthy Pat Hamill, likewise a wee lassie, and to every laddie that's listening to me. And there turn your back on a bonny lassie when she's asking the road to sweet Carlock Bay, when she's asking the road to sweet Carlock Bay. Winter was brawling o'er high hills and mountains, dark where the clouds o'er the deep rolling sea. I spied a wee lass as the daylight was dawning. She was asking the road to sweet Carlock Bay. She was asking the road to sweet Carlock Bay. She was asking the road to sweet Carlock Bay. She was asking the road to sweet Carlock Bay. She was asking the road. Carlock Bay, she was asking the road. Sweet Carlock Bay, she was asking the road. Sweet Carlock Bay, she was asking the road. Sweet Carlock Bay.
Paul McKenna Band.
All five of them.
And for the record, it was a folk warrior. We listened back. It's a folk
Yeah,
warrior.
it was.
It is a folk warrior.
It's a folk
Silver,
warrior.
can you confirm?
He is.
He is a folk warrior, of course.
Can I just say what a fantastic feature that was?
Absolutely. The tunes you heard in that, of course, were the Lobster Set and Just There, Carlock Bay, and the Paul McKenna Band are...
I wonder why he called it the Lobster Set.
Well,
Don't go there.
The Paul McKenna Band are David McNee, it's a lovely story, Rudy McMillan, who told the Lobster story, Ewan Baird, Sean Gray, and of course Paul McKenna. And the new album Between Two Worlds is available now on Green Tracks Records. So
all of them have been to Burton's, and all of them have been in the recording studio.
What do you mean by that, Silver? What are you implying?
What I'd say is
Silver,
they're all very well dressed.
I bought
gents.
my last jacket from Burton's.
Well, good. I mean, I'm not.
Burton's, we want some free stock. Well, yes, there you go. A lot of testosterone in that interview there. We should probably get a female featured artist next show.
I would agree with that. I think we could do with some sirens.
Indeed. Well, that's all for this week, and we'll be back again in 2 weeks' time. Until the next time, though, gardensessions.co.uk is the website. Lots of free music to download there.
So much free music.
There's some
How
reviews.
many artists are there?
Oh, tons.
Oh,
don't get me started.
Oh, the number is
You can
big.
affect the download chart, and yes, it's all very exciting stuff. And there's reviews on there as well. There's fucking news, and all the information about all the podcasts we've ever done, and links to all the music you've heard in the show. And the Bothy Vaults, what will we put it in? Put it in this week? We'll decide. There'll be something exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have an idea?
No, it's what's already on there is worth checking out, is what I wanted to mention, which is the interview, I believe, from Lau's first album launch.
But it'll probably have gone fairly soon.
Oh, right, okay.
Depending on how lazy we are here in the
Just had
buffet.
the nod from
Anyway,
the webmaster.
Anyway, we're going to finish off with a trip back in time, for want of a less cheesy phrase there. A sprightly Corinne Polwart and Jill Bowman from their only album as Michaelius, Highward.
It's not that far back in time.
Highward all the way back in 2000.
2000?
Michaelius, the Gowden Loxoana, it's called, the Robert Burns song. And so, till next time, from myself, Jack Foster, Chris Silver, Frank Burkitt, take it easy.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Stream I had a pint of wine, a place where bodies sauna. Stream lay on this breast of mine, the garden of Soana. The hungry Jew in wilderness, rejoicing our his manna, was nothing to my honey bliss upon the lips of Anna. Ye monarchs tag both east and west, frae Indus to Savannah. Gie me within my straining grasp the melting form of despise imperial charms, an empress or sultana, while dying raptures in her arms, I give and take away Anna. Flaunting God of day, a war thou pale Diana, ilks targy hide thy twinkling ray, when I'm to meet my Anna. Come in thy raven plumage night, sun, moon, and stars withdrawn, and bring an angel my transports way my Anna. The cock and state may join and tell to do sick things I monna. The cock and state may go to hell, and I'll get to my Anna. She is the sunshine of my life, to live but her I canna. And I on earth but wishes three, the first should be my Anna. And I on earth but wishes